on the floor close to the CNC machine. And that I want to show you is the best way to make the PCB engraving. And for that we need to prepare and to machine a special fixture or a kind of jig. And it's because when we will have to use you know, this kind of things. So it's one side of, you have some epoxy. Here you have a blue film that protects some copper layer, and that is on the epoxy. So it's a one side copper layer. You have two sides, so it also works with two sides. But this type of things are very critical to put in place, and they are very flexible. I don't know if you can see, but it can bend very easily. So we have to create a special jig for that. And the other thing that you have to keep in mind is the fact that we will have to make some drilling operation, and on the electronic PCB board, the size of the holes are very small. It's around 0.03 inches, so it's below 0.8 millimeters. So the jig we have to design and create should also take into account the fact that we will have to drill all the way through the board. But this kind of material is very easy to drill. The thickness is very light, and we cannot have something very strong behind because the behavior of the drill bit would be not good, and you can break the very small drill. So I will show you a way to create a jig to maintain very precisely and very constant Z level, and after that we can do the engraving operation by itself. So let's turn the camera on to show you the machining and the way I create this jig. So when you want to make some engraving on the PCB, you need to have a very flat surface, and the best thing to do this operation is to mount a piece of, in this case, a piece of wood, and then to surface it. And this way you are very flat, and then you can put the PCB on this flat surface. Indeed, you know, the layer, the copper layer that you have on a PCB is very light. So the thickness need to be taken account, and if you do not have a flat surface, you will have some concern during the engraving. So the first step you have to do, you create a plate like that, and you can resurface it as how many times you want, depending on the thickness of the plate. And the other thing that I want to mention, I will test a new end mill. It's a very big one. It's a half-inch 4-flute carbide end mill, and I want to see what could be the speed in the wood with these big guys. Usually these kind of end mills are used in the steel mainly, and to make some finishing operation. So we'll start the surfacing operation and see how it will work. So we are close to the setup for the PCB engraving, and there is mainly two things to do. The first one is to make the engraving of the paths of the electronic components, and the second thing is to make the drilling operation. So the first thing you need is some engraving bits. So I will zoom on it to show you what it looks like. So it's a very small tips. The diameter at the end of the tips is all at 2 millimeters, and you can buy them, as you can see, as a bunch with a kit of 10, something like that. Now the other thing that you will need to make some PCB engraving is some very small drill bit, like those one, and those kind of drill bits are different compared to the normal drill bits. A normal drill bit has the shank and the working area has the same diameter, but those one are so small. If I pick up one, those one are, as you can see, are very small, but the shank is big enough to be mounted on the spindle. So that's why you need such thing. And you have used the diameter, very small one, and the big one is, I guess, 1.5 millimeters, and the small one is 0.2 millimeters. That should be somewhere here. So, and of course, the last thing you need is a PCB sheet. So you can order them on eBay. They arrive like that. So it is better to buy such big machine like that, because you have more. The cost is lower for such thing. So do not take small things, and we'll see how to set up this guy.